Hi guys, welcome back to my creative Christmas gift guide. First off, let me apologise that these are a little bit late and also that I sound a bit congested and gruff. I am, because I've been down with a cold all week. But I'm on the mend now, just trying not to cough. So if this is cut in a funny way, it's because I had a coughing fit. I'm sorry. Let's get back to some creative ideas for people who you want to buy Christmas presents for. They are creative, or you want to encourage their creativity, but you have no idea what to get them. Colouring books are all the rage at the moment. I'm sure you've seen it just about everywhere. If you've even stepped outside your door lately, you'll know that colouring books are the thing. There are lots of different colouring books, and I'm not even going to try and show you all of mine because I've a plethora of them. We'd be here all day. I've just picked two that I got recently that I really like. These are a step up from your average colouring book in a way. They're kind of for the colouring book nerd. So if you know somebody who's really into colouring books and has all the colouring books out there, who absolutely loves to colour, first off, these have only come out in the last few weeks. So unless you are a real colouring book nerd like me, you probably don't have them. This one is a great one for someone who really loves to colour. So if you know somebody who's got every colouring book you can think of and has already got all the usual ones like the Dover publications and the steampunk ones and Harry Potter, and they've already got Game of Thrones and all those, they may not have this one yet, especially in the UK. It only came out last week. This is the Brothers Grimm colouring book by Adam Fisher. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at Adam Fisher Art. I will put the links below, of course. And this one I got from Amazon. I actually had it on pre-order because Dee Willingham showed it when it came out in the States, which was a couple of weeks before it came out here. And I'd already heard about it, but I hadn't seen it inside. And as soon as I saw inside of it, I was like, yes, I've got to have that. This is a really nice book. It's a good size. It is, let me move this one out of the way. It is about, I'd say about 7 by 7 inches. Let's have a look. 7 by 7, 8 by 8. Oh, it's 8 by 8. So it's a good size without being overwhelming. Some of the A4 books can be a bit overwhelming, even if you love to colour. If you like to colour on your knee while you're watching telly, this is a really good size to work in. Also, all the pages are perforated. Every single one. Even the front page. This page is perforated. Okay, so the leader pages, the text, the title pages, all of them are perforated. So you can take the pages out and colour them if you wish, or, you know, you could use it as an art journal, you could move pages about, and every page is single-sided. So you've really got the opportunity to really play about with this, and there are several different pages from each fairy tale. So for instance, this one is Hansel and Gretel. They're the Brothers Grimm stories. So, and they are the original stories. They're not just like the ones that everybody knows. They've got ones like Madame Hall and things in here. You know, Mother Hall, that a lot of people don't even know the story. These are from Hansel and Gretel, and each one has a little thing underneath of what the scene is of, but there's several of each one, so you could go and find another Hansel and Gretel picture and bring it across and put it here, and you know, you could really play about with it if you wanted to. The images range from very simplistic and bold like this one to incredibly detailed like this one. And there's the grandmother's house from Little Red Riding Hood. So you've got Scenes, the Musicians of Bremen, which is one of my favourite stories when I was little. The Ugly Sisters, The Frog, and some of these are done like, what are they called? Tessellation prints. So some of them have very crazy patterns that you can colour. You've got very large print ones that, you know, if you're learning to draw faces, this is a great way of doing it. You've got very, very detailed ones if you want to get into drawing every single feather. Lots of people, lots of funny creatures, flora and fauna, settings, just about everything you could want. It's a really, really good book. I really like this one. And as you can see, I've already started colouring one of mine. Another of my favourites growing up was Rapunzel, because I love hair. I've got a thing for hair, and I love colouring hair. So as you can see, I've been colouring the hair. You can see that these are very, very detailed images. You could get a lot of really cool effects going on in these. And at the same time, some of the images are nice and simplistic, so you could actually, you know, really go to town with playing with colour contrasts and simple colours. So that's a good one for someone who really wants to expand their colouring prowess, as it were, and who loves fairy tales. Now, for the nerd colourist, of which I call myself one, okay? If you like comic books and things, this was tweeted about on Neil Gaiman's Twitter. Neil Gaiman posted about this when it first came out, and I was like, I didn't even look at it, I was like, yes, I'm having that. This is by Michael Kahlua and Charles Vess. Now, if you're into comic books, you will know their names very well. Michael Kahlua is a Guatemalan, I believe, who now teaches in America and has worked with Marvel Comics and DC Comics. He did the cover for Batman number 19. He's worked on Shadow, I think, was his most famous piece. He's really, really well known in the comic book world. And Charles Vess is possibly one of the most versatile artists I've ever seen. I came to know Charles Vess's work through reading The Sandman in the early 90s. He did a lot of Neil Gaiman's Sandman illustrations. And he's also worked with just about every comic book house there is, you know, from big houses to little houses and back again. They are just amazing fantasy artists. Charles Vess has actually got a lot of his own books and novels out. I think Drawing Down the Moon is probably the most famous one, not to be confused with the Wiccan version of Drawing Down the Moon. This is an actual Art of Charles Vess novel with fantasy art in it. And it's called the Mythic Colouring Book. It's published by fairymag.com. It's not particularly expensive. It was $17. And I can't remember how much it worked out as in English, but I didn't have to pay import fees or anything for it. I ordered it from America and I didn't have to pay import fees. So I'm pretty happy about that. It's called the Mythic Colouring Book. It should be called the Epic Colouring Book because, oh man, it's amazing. Not only is it a colouring book, it is a double-sided colouring book. I know, right? So this side... Oh, I never noticed that before, that's pretty. This side is, I believe, Michael Kahlua. Yes, Michael Kahlula's artwork. Very sketchy, very detailed, very... These would be beautiful to watercolour on. It's very nice, thick paper. I don't think it would take alcohol markers. I don't think very much takes alcohol markers, but it would certainly take, you know, your usual mediums, your acrylic, your watercolours, your basic colouring pens, that kind of thing. And in some of them, it's so detailed. In some of them, you can even still see where the pencil marks are. I mean, this one you can see where he penciled in and then he inked over the top. And he's corrected lines as he went. They're not even cleaned up images in some cases. They are literally like he's just finished working on them. It's fantastic. I can imagine spending hours watercolouring in this. I mean, it's kind of a shame because I want to enjoy the artwork, but at the same time, oh my god, I want to play. Unfortunately, it's not single-sided. That is the only downside I can think of for it, to be honest. It's not single-sided. But like I said, the paper is quite heavy. It's not traditional thin colouring book paper. It's quite sturdy. So I think it would take most things reasonably well. I think most of the techniques that we use would work rather well in it. So half of the book is Michael Kahlua, and then you know, when you fancy a change, oh, just flip it upside down and let's have a look at Charles Vess's work. Oh, they've put the Green Man in there. Charles Vess does a lot of fantasy art illustration for the Green Man Press. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he also did their logo. I think he did the Green Man logo. That's kind of like a masquerade mask, Green Man wolf type thing. It's very interesting. Anyway, yes, this is Charles Vess's side. And he's a little bit more what you think of when you think graphic novel style. It's more illustration art, it's graphic novel style. Whereas I think Michael Kahlua is a bit more kind of fantasy art. I would class this as fantasy art rather than illustration. Whereas this is certainly more of the illustration style. Again, very detailed, lots to play with. I can imagine this looking amazing in colour. Aladdin and his wonderful lamp. I assume that's the genie. Now this says copyright Charles Vess 92, so I wonder if this may be a cover page that he did. There might be a colour image version of this available somewhere. He might have done this as an illustration for something and has reprinted it, because it does say 1992, so Into the Woods. Snow White, Red Riding Hood pulling the wolf along by his tail. There's another one. Charles Vess 1993. That looks a bit like the BFG. Thomas the Rhymer. Yeah, isn't it fabulous? The artwork in this is just amazing. I haven't even had a chance to go through it all yet. But again, Charles Vess's work ranges from the super simple to the slightly ornate to the heavily detailed. So yeah, I think that if you've got someone in your family who is really into comic book art, loves to colour, loves to draw, loves to create, even somebody who's just into fantasy art and wants some ideas, this is the book. This is the Christmas present they want, trust me. So again, that's from fairymag.com. Came with this beautiful card. Isn't that pretty? Thank you for shopping with us at Fairy Magazine. Isn't that lovely? There's the URL if you need it. Obviously I'll put the links down below as well. So yeah, I think as a colouring book nerd myself, these are the two that I would have loved to wake up to on Christmas morning. You know, these and a nice set of pencils and I'd be well on my way. These are really something special if you want to go that extra mile for somebody who loves to colour.